So how did the NHL and how did Montreal call you back up, or how did it work out that John Scott was going to get into the 2016 All-Star Game as the voted-in captain?
Yeah, well, I was voted in. I was going, and then so I did a little research, and the NHLPA did some research, and they said, you know what? There's no rule stating you can't go to the All-Star Game if you're in the AHL.
So you mean, okay, could what about if you're just in beer league? Can someone get voted in and go? Okay.
I don't know. Okay. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have a shot.
You never know.
You never know,
Start
right?
it right now. Maybe next year.
The Touch of Hero Show, SiriusXM 168.
Okay, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's all brought to you by our good friends over at Pizza Pizza. And you know, I was very excited for, well, this is the deal. This is a pre-recorded interview. So I was excited earlier this morning for this interview and then to be able to air the interview, which you're hearing right now, because I followed this story pretty closely last year, like most hockey fans, and especially most Canadian hockey fans. And it's an amazing story. And here to tell it, the one and only John Scott. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Flossing for himself.
Yeah.
I like that. You're big, man. How tall? You're a big guy, bro.
6'8".
6'8".
I know.
Jeez. And you grew up in Ontario?
Yep.
Whereabouts?
St. Catharines, Ontario.
That's a nice town, you know. No. It's like,
It's okay.
Were you a 97.7 fan at least growing up?
I was 97.7 Hits FM. That was my spot.
That was your go-to.
Yeah.
I had a job offer there, actually.
No way.
Yeah, but the interview's not about me, John. It's about you.
About me. Come on, let's focus here.
Let's be honest,
Yeah,
right?
Come on.
This is the reason why John is hanging out with us today is because he has a book out, and the book is called "A Guy Like Me: Fighting to Make the Cut." John, tell us about the book a little bit.
Yeah, it basically is just kind of biography, I guess. I wrote it in the summer, and people seem to be interested with my story, so I figured why not just do a book, and it's been getting pretty good reviews. I think people it's an honest book. I didn't really pull any punches. I didn't want to have a lame book that, it's like, oh, hockey was fun, my life was great, and all these vanilla stories. So I made some enemies writing the book, and my friends gave me a few calls, but it's a good book. I was honest, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
And not knowing a ton about you, but the one thing I do know is that following sort of this career you had of being an enforcer, a guy who didn't really get drafted, I believe. You sort of came out and then you went into college and stuff, and,
Yep.
then kind of came out. And the title says it is that you've really just fought your way to make what was a great living. It ended very uniquely, and we'll talk about that now. But I would imagine that you always just kind of had to be as candid as you are within this book just to continue to make it in the NHL.
Yeah, I found if I were not myself and I just tried to hide stuff, you end up killing yourself. It just drives you crazy. So my kind of coping mechanism with lots of situations was just being myself and having fun and making some jokes, and that kind of cuts the tension. It just makes things easier rather than just being this quiet guy in the corner and just kind of, it sucks, you're just by yourself and no one likes you. So if you're yourself, and people seem to like that. And
that's the way to be genuine and honest, and that's what I've always appreciated. I like big personalities and I like directness. I'm that type of guy, and I think the world needs more of that. And I haven't seen the book yet. I'll peruse through it later. But did you go out and throw anyone under the bus, or are you just telling stories here?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't throw anybody under the bus, but I'm not gonna make shit up. And I think I tell honest stories. They're not terrible stories. I'm not really disparaging anybody, but they're honest stories. We go out and we have fun and we have some beers, and it's just how it goes. And sometimes my brother doesn't like that, my family doesn't like that, but
What's an example of something someone might see in the book that will go, wow, John Scott and X did this?
Yeah, well, just growing up in St. Catharines, my older brother, kind of a troublemaker, in and out of jail here and there, and he would go out and get a little boozed up, and he would call me, and I would go up to these bars, and I thought I would be picking him up. And more often than not, I would walk through the door, and he'd be like, okay, here's my backup, Big John coming through the door, 6'7", let's go. And he'd have 4 guys who wants to kill him. And it'd be like, okay, me and him versus 4 guys. And it would just be it would be on. And that happened more often than not. And it was just, a regular occurrence.
Oh, what a beauty, your bro. He trained you for the NHL.
He knew what was in store. He's a great guy. He has a couple demons, but he was a great brother, yeah.
Well, I guess, we all have demons, and I'm sure you talk about a little bit about yours, but, we might as well get in the heart of it. What had happened to you? Now, if you're listening, you're going, John Scott, we're on a comedy show. How did this, all relate and stuff? Well, A, we dabble in sports, but B, remember the remarkable story last year of John Scott, who played for the Arizona, what are they called again?
Oh God. Shit. Coyotes.
Those
Sorry.
ones.
Oh my goodness.
Those guys. And all of a sudden, and from what I think is the story, and I'll have you confirm it, John, that somehow through a Reddit campaign, John Scott is now the most popular voted guy into the All-Star game because of your hard work, your toughness, your lovable personality, and people get behind you. Next thing you know, John Scott, you're voted into the NHL All-Star game.
Yeah.
As the most votes of anyone who was going to Crosby, you name it. Like, you're the man.
By far, yeah.
So when this is happening, and it starts off as a small little story, and you see it escalate into, holy fuck, I'm getting millions of votes.
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking inside?
You know, it was weird. It was, so it started off as a joke. And so the guy's doing a podcast just like we're doing now.
Oh, was it Merrick? Was it Jeff Merrick?
Jeff Merrick,
yeah. What up, you? I love Jeff.
He's a great guy.
Okay.
And so they were just throwing around the idea because there's a fan vote. And the fans get to vote in captains. And usually it's like, oh, the superstars get voted in. But they were like, well, what if we got, you know, some guy who really doesn't deserve it? And then, you know, it'd have to be a good guy. And they were throwing around names. And they're like, oh, John Scott. And I was like, oh, perfect. And it's like, okay, well, now we got to. Some people heard it. And then it gained steam, gained momentum, snowballed. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, I'm first place by far. And it just didn't stop from there. And I was like, I was shocked. I was pissed at the beginning. I'm like, I'm not a joke. Like, I don't want to be the butt of a joke. And then, you know, the idea slowly, you know, creeps in your head like, oh, this might be fun. Like, it's the All-Star game. It's in Nashville, like, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And all the guys around me are saying you should go. My family's like, this is pretty cool. You should do it. And, yeah, I got super excited for it at the end.
Well, I can tell you, as a guy who's really been an underdog most of my life, and that's just because I won't cut my hair, so I don't play well with the corporate crowd. But and I wear a lot of Drake stuff. But you know, I loved the story, and I remember seeing Don Cherry go and rant against it. And I remember thinking that was, to be honest, and what I said in my words is, I thought that was disgusting because here's a guy who seemingly is for the people, Don Cherry, but now when the person. And maybe the statistics don't show it, but the whole point of it was the NHL fan vote, a fan vote. So whether it's kind of in jest and kind of jokingly and a sort of the sarcastic thing that then blew up, I mean, that's brilliant. People went and took their time out of their day, voted onto the NHL.com, got John Scott in there. And on top of it, in a day and age when the NHL needs more people watching the game, we need better ratings, we need more advertising dollars, all this stuff. I mean, this was a great, this spearheaded all that. And that was, to me, was a huge part of it that was an oversight on a guy like Don Cherry's part and some of this corporate crowd. So, you know, when this is happening, you see some people are against you, some people are loving it. Was it weird being caught up in the shitstorm now?
Oh, it was awful. I honestly stopped reading or watching or listening to anything. I just shut myself down. I would just watch movies all day and every day just because it was so much stuff thrown at me. And it's like, oh, you need to talk to this person. I'm like, well, I just read an article that they trashed the shit out of me for the last 2 weeks. So why would I want to talk to them? All of a sudden they want to be my friends. So yeah, it sucks to hear a guy like Cherry. I honestly didn't even hear what he said because I tuned everything out, but it stinks to hear someone like that because he's like the face of hockey in Canada. And
it was demoralized. I can't even say the word.
Because you're so upset. About it. Yeah. I feel the same way. It was demoralizing.
Yes,
and
that one.
Yes,
hashtag.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like, come on, like he doesn't know how I feel, and I hate when people speak for me. It's like, oh, this poor kid. It's like, no, I'm doing fine. Like I'm a grown man. I can handle myself, and I hoping he was trying to stick up for me in a way, but. You know, I was okay with it near the end. I wanted to go, so you know.
So the votes shows that you're going to go, and then this big trade.
The big trade.
Arizona, whatever, says we're gonna get rid of this guy to Montreal, and was this sort of a conniving plot to get John Scott out of the All-Star game?
Who knows, right? I hate to think it went down that way, but you know, I always say, if walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably, you know, a duck. And all the things lined up to, it wasn't on level trade. So who knows, to be traded to Montreal and to be sent down. And it was a sticky situation. I don't know.
I mean, you're being very politically correct.
I don't want to, you know.
There's certain feathers you don't ruffle. And what I'll tell you, though, is I was just going to say the Habs look like they have clown suits, but I'm a Leaf fan. But B, it reeked a shit for fans.
Yeah.
And then fans didn't give up on it. Fans wanted you there. So how did the NHL and how did Montreal call you back up, or how did it work out that John Scott was going to get into the 2016 All-Star Game as the voted-in captain?
Yeah, well, I was voted in. I was going, and then so I did a little research, and the NHLPA did some research, and they said, you know what? There's no rule stating you can't go to the All-Star Game if you're in the AHL.
So you mean, okay, what about if you're just in beer league? Can someone get voted in and go? Okay.
I don't know. Okay. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have a shot.
You never know.
You never know,
Start
right?
it right now. Maybe next year. But yeah, and then so they said if you can go, you can go if you want to go. And at that time I was like, no way. Like I'm done. I'm over it. They put me through all this shit and I didn't want to go. And then, that's when people started to say again, you should go. It'll be fun. Like, don't let them get the better of you. And this could be a positive thing, and just go and have a good time. And that's when I said, you know what, fine, I'll go, I'll have a good time. And I'm glad I did, because it was awesome.
Well, I when that happened, I watched an All-Star game, which I hadn't done in years, and that's another big thing. A lot of people tune out the All-Star game because of the format, and people don't really play. You went out there, John Scott, who's got a book out, and go and get it. Check it out. It's called A Guy Like Me, Fighting to Make the Cut. John Scott with Brian Casanova.
Good enough.
Okay, he's a dude who helped you put it all together. You go out there, you have the big smile on your face. You're like the talk of the town for the entire weekend, and then you go out and you score a couple of goals. You win the MVP.
Yeah, right. It's a storybook ending. I went out there with the mindset, I'm just going to have fun. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how it was going to go. I was just wanted to have fun. I didn't want to deal with all the outside stuff. So if someone would give me a beer, I'd drink a beer. If someone wanted to shake my hand, I'd shake their hand. I'd take pictures. I'd sign autographs. I just wanted to do everything. I didn't want to just be scared and sit in my room and just do nothing. So I tried to take it all in and have fun, and it worked out. And I think that good karma came back to me, and the game went well. And yeah, I played well, and it was good. We won the whole thing.
Yeah, and were most of the guys pretty cool? Were all the NHL guys, were they really supportive of all this?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, because it's like their game, right? The superstars, they go there. It's an honor to be voted in. Like, you're the best player in the league for that year. So I didn't know what to expect, and everyone was super excited. Like, they wanted to play with me. They wanted to kind of chat with me and hang out with me, and yeah, it was cool. I was like the hit of that weekend. It was
Who
neat.
really stands out, John, that maybe pulled you aside, that you just maybe blew your mind even as one of these superstars that said, let's go and crush it?
It's funny. The coolest moment was after the game, after all the glitz and glamour. I'd done all these interviews, and I was just kind of relaxing in the locker room. I go in the shower, and Taylor Hall's in there. And so we're just showering, me and Taylor Hall. Everyone's gone home, and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, this is super cool to play with you in this game.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. He's like, I know you went through a lot, but it's an honor for me to play with you in this game. I know you had a tough time, but it's just really cool to have you here. We're glad you came. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, this young kid says that, and it's wisdom beyond his years. And I was just like, wow, it's really nice of you to say that. And that kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, especially for a millennial.
Right?
But,
yeah. To think of other people. Yeah.
It is super great. And, the role of an enforcer, which you did for your career, is one that has obviously been controversial within the sport, but also one that I know players, and having known a guy like Wade Belak and stuff, and being at his funeral, to be honest, they such immense respect on that level as well. You're defending these guys the way you were defending your brother, and they become your brothers, and that's an extension of it. And you must take a lot of pride knowing that you did that for so long.
Absolutely. That was a part of my job. I loved protecting people. I grew up that way. I always kind of looked out for the underdog. I hated people who bullied people. I was just really, I didn't like that. It always got under my skin. So I think that just carried through to hockey and throughout my life. And I enjoyed protecting people. I didn't like people taking advantage of my teammates, and guys on my team knew that, and they respected me for that. And yeah, that's the thing. When I did get votes for this game, they were on board. They're like, this is cool. You should go. Like, you deserve it. And the tough guys never get that kind of recognition. So it was nice to see my peers kind of stick up for me, and they really enjoyed it.
Who's your toughest fight?
Toughest fight? Oh man, DJ King, probably. He was
I feel like I don't know DJ King.
Played for St. Louis Blues for a while. Just
okay.
big, tough native kid, and he could chuck him. Yeah, we had a couple.
Oh, wow.
He was tough.
He's tough, eh?
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy how tough all you guys are. Like,
Yeah.
it's really insane. Do you miss that aspect of going at it a little bit now that you're
bit.
retired? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine you could, doing it for so long. And I'm being serious here, actually. Like, it must be tough to go and vent now. Like that was an outlet for you.
I know. I play Sunday night beer league with just some kids, and I almost got into a fight like 3 weeks ago. Someone was kind of getting on my nerves, and I grabbed him by the throat. I'm like, you fucking guy. I'm like, just drop one glove. I want it so bad. But yeah, you have different outlets. Like, Yeah.
Was he dropping like Mr. All-Star and
Yeah,
stuff to
shit
you?
like
Was
that. He
doing-
scored a goal and did my celebration. He's like, "Oh, that's so good." I'm like, "Oh my God, buddy! Like, you have no idea what could happen." And yeah,
By the way, I would have been the guy you'd pummel in beer league. I put Youngblood on the back of my jersey. Like, everyone hated me for it. I got chicken legs though, so
That's
I was
great.
easy to. I turtled real easy. I had no core strength. John Scott, man, it really is. It's as you said, it's like a very Cinderella storybook ending for your career, and I guess so. You are done now with the game for good, correct?
Yeah.
Going on that note, would you ever picture anything like that?
No, God, no. I not a chance to go out in an All-Star game. Like, it's pretty surreal. Yeah, that was a good way to go out for me.
5 goals you scored in your career, plus
That's
the
it.
2 in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Do you remember all the goalies you scored them on?
All the goalies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Who
Yeah.
are they? Because I know I only say it because I know Bernier's one, and what a joke he
Oh
was.
my
for the league
God,
story.
Bernier, top shelf. One was an empty net.
Okay.
One was Bernier. One was Lettinen from Carolina. And then, oh my God, what else did I? San Jose. I scored against Braden Holtby.
Okay.
And then I scored against the guy from Calgary. That would have been, God, what's his name? He played for St. Louis.
Well, you're a hockey guy. Well,
Not Jake Allen. Elliott. Elliott.
okay.
Yeah.
You got him. And then who'd you score him on in the All-Star game?
All-Star game was Dubnyk and Rene.
Dude, that's so epic, man.
Right?
John, it's great. And what's up now? You going to the All-Star game this weekend?
Yeah, we're flying out from Toronto. I'm going home for a day, picking up the family, going out west.
They're in Michigan still?
They're in Michigan
Okay.
still, so I'm going to pick up the twins and the wife. We're going to go out west for a few days and just hang out and enjoy it, and then back
Beauty.
home.
Where you
Yeah.
going to stay out in L.A.? Where are you staying? Where'd you rent a place?
I don't know.
No, go to Manhattan Beach. It's super nice.
Oh, I love it there.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Bring the kids there.
I'll be there.
John, people got to go get this book. You're everything I thought you'd be. Real, candid, awesome, and a beautiful story. And I'm sure it's all written down even better than what I just tried to pull out of you.
Much
So,
better. Much
I'm
better.
sure. It's called A Guy Like Me, Fighting to Make the Cut. Where can people go and get it?
Amazon, any big bookstore, it should be there.
Cheers. John, it's a real pleasure to meet you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, likewise.
Congrats on everything
Yeah.
for you. Okay. Back in a moment. It's all brought to you by Pizza. We do appreciate you listening to us.
The Todd Shapiro Show.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. You can subscribe over there, or you can watch another video over here. And I think this is the Daniel Bryan yes chant. So what the hell? Yes, Todd Shapiro Show. Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore. It's a very sad story.